Thank you, Beth. And welcome, everybody. Appreciate you coming down. We got almost all the chairs filled. I imagine in a few minutes they'll all be filled, which it's always great to see a turnout, how many different people remember the photographs and in the Telegraph, when the Telegraph was a little bit fatter than it is these days, but they say, you know, go on a diet, lean is better. Well, that doesn't apply to newspapers, unfortunately. But nevertheless, it's where it's at. But his legacy certainly was established long before that, before an era when there wasn't probably enough room to run a lot of photos in the paper like today. But, you know, as you look around, you see the different landmarks and the different you know, depictions of a slice of Nashua life in the 50s and 60s, and it's a golden era, great times. It's a lot of fun for me as somebody who was born in the 50s, in the middle of the baby boomer generation, to look back at old papers and certainly the old photographs that my father had taken and certainly left everywhere, from the Telegraph to home, and I keep them with me. And there's plenty. If you ever want to see a lot of family photos, you know, they'll get boring after a while, but there's tons. There's absolutely tons. But I always appreciate when people respond to these exhibits, or just the idea that there are so many photos that he left. Is a legacy, and had the foresight, you know, with by the prompting of Cal to you know, to come down to the Historical Society and talk to them about you know, accessing them into the collection. So they were very excited, needless to say, because yes, indeed, that's, you know, some of the pictorial highlights of Nashua history from old-time Nashuans. I remember Dick Chaput, the gentleman who had polio as 10, 11, 12-year-old kid, and ended up in this iron lung, which is a scary giant thing, because he was paralyzed and he needed to breathe, and he's depicted in a photo there. People roasting lamb at the old Annunciation Grove, where St. Philip's Church is now. That was his lamb. He cut it up and helped out the Greeks at the church, and they enjoyed that, and he did too. The radio stations, as WSMN and WOTW, depicted up there the old Telegraph sign, which I'd love to know where that is today and have access to it, certainly. Brockelman's restaurant, a lot of things I don't remember, most I've at least heard of, the theaters and everything, but you can certainly enjoy your own memories looking at them, and that's the main purpose, I think, of exhibits like this, because they trigger memories and they bring back you know, fond memories or difficult times, certainly, that are still part of history, of fires and so forth. You know, obviously, as a news photographer, he spent a lot of time chasing incidents like fires and other things. And I, as a kid, you know, just sort of automatically got that bug that I'd pressure him into taking me with him when he got a call in the middle of the night for a fire or something like that. Sometimes no, like during school times, but summers, yeah, we had a pretty good chance of going and carrying a piece of equipment in order to hang out and watch it. And you know, we all know what happened to that interest. It just kind of grew, and then I kind of did what he did for a number of years too. But it's proud of our family, certainly proud of you know, the work he had done, and the nice things that people always say about him, whether it's about his photos or him as a person. So thanks again for coming down, and enjoy, have some refreshments, and I could answer any questions as we walk around if you have. So please feel free to do that. Sure, Al.
When you were 5 years old, Was your theme song All I Want for Christmas, My Two Front Teeth?
Ah, it could very well have been the great pumpkin experiment, and how I agreed to that, I don't know, but I was probably bribed with something. So, but it's a classic example of that creativity. It just, you know, he got that idea, as I explained in that column I wrote a couple of weeks ago. He'd get these brainstorms, and he just hoped that my sister or I or both of us would comply with his request. So I remember that song was out around then, so it was probably played more than once in reference to. Great. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, and enjoy.